Yo, this is Come Inside of Me. I'm Tony. It's Ask Me Anything Monday. I have been in a vortex. I missed the last two episodes partly because I completely forgot I had a podcast. Like, truly forgot. That's because Wednesday was my kid's birthday. A lot of expectation. This fucking Cancer, man. She is a Cancer. Her astrological sign is a Cancer, and Cancers are crabs. They are creatures of emotion with a hard shell. And this teen girl of mine, this 15-year-old girl, she has expectations for her birthday. So I was in a birthday vortex on Wednesday. Forgot I had a podcast. And then on Friday was 4th of July, which is not a holiday I ever celebrate because I never celebrate the birth of a nation. Like, celebrating the birth of the nation is fucking weird. I just like, nationalism is not something that resonates with me. I understand celebrating not having to work that day. Respect. If you want to celebrate not working 4th of July, that is rad. You want to celebrate a break in the capitalist nightmare? 100%. I am scratching myself until I bleed, by the way. But I think celebrating the birth of a nation, or like our independence from the British. Yeah, right, we're independent from the British. I don't think so. I think the same families are controlling the world that have been for thousands of years. So I don't think we're independent from the United Kingdom, okay? We are still part of a monarchy. We're part of a global system of control that has never been independent just because we don't pay taxes on our tea anymore or whatever. I know that's a different event that happened. I know that's the Boston Tea Party, but they're all interconnected. I think the point I'm trying to say is 4th of July is a war simulation where they simulate bombing in order to kind of rub in the face of the global empire that, oh, in our country, we can simulate bombing and it's actually quite relaxing and enjoyable for the children, not necessarily the pets, but our children and our adults like war simulation because we don't have war on our land. We only export our war. Therefore, we can go around having fireworks and just thinking, oh, how pretty. Oh, this sound of explosion, it's exciting because we don't experience it in a warlike manner. We just simulate war. So, not a fan. I've never been a fan. Even as a child, I was like, this is twisted. Because some people would hear those sounds and like bug out, especially if you were a war vet. You know, anyone that's like really intimately connected to war, I don't think is like relaxing during fireworks. But again, completely forgot I had a podcast. I didn't remember I had a podcast until the weekend. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot to do that. So now I'm back. I'm getting better. What was I going to say? Come to the Patreon and let me tell you why. The tiers are good. The tiers are good. I think I'm offering you some good stuff, and I think you have to like investigate what's being offered. I also think that to get to know me better on a more intimate level, that's going to happen on the Patreon. And I know you think you know me because of like my videos and my podcast and the fact that I'm always going on and talking and stuff. But there's also a part of me that I keep to myself that I will only share with my Patreons. I'm a complex person. I don't know if you know that. And there's pieces of me that you have yet to discover. There's also a lot I don't say because I don't want to get censored. And also, I don't want to always say everything I fully think because I don't know if y'all are ready for it. TBH. I just don't know if you're ready for unfiltered Tony, like completely unfiltered Tony, raw dogging Tony. That is not for the faint of heart. That is a strong person. So if you think you have it in you to raw dog me, come to the Patreon. I mean, like, honestly, it's going to be a specific type of person. If you want to raw dog this ass, you better be brave. All right, let's do some questions. I also like have an unsolicited question that I wanted to say, but I think we'll end with that one. If you hear me scratching myself till I bleed, I'm sorry. It's just, I was at the beach this weekend. I went to the coast, like the ocean. I like the ocean. I really vibe with the ocean, but there were these like green-headed flies that were annihilating me. And my friend was like, you might want to wear some extra sleeves and a pants for the green-headed flies. But it was hot AF. And I was like, I'm not wearing no fucking pants to the beach. I'm fine. These green flies aren't going to bother me. And truly, they bothered me so much. It was actually upsetting how many times I got bit by these green-headed demons, like these flying sleep paralysis demons that were just biting the shit out of the backs of my knees and my ankles. They were so fucking rude. I don't know. I was arrogant when I said I didn't need extra clothing to protect myself from these suspended government created monsters, okay? These green-headed flies, they're not from nature. They were out to get me specifically more than anyone else. And I do think that the government had something to do with that. So, all right, here we go. Question number 1. First, thanks for being a giver. You're welcome. I love that. I think I made a video. Like this person sent me this a while ago. I'm behind, okay? I've been dealing with a lot. I am behind. I'm just one person. All right. I'm struggling with sorrow disguised as anger that most of my family members have voted for Republicans until this last election. Better late than never. But I'm pissed at all the people that handed out democracy to a dictator. And I find myself having conversations in my head, chiding my family, because they are the closest to me, for contributing to the gradual buildup of this total takeover. It's not healthy and it's myopic. Any advice? Thank you. All right. This is what I think about this. We want to blame each other because blaming each other is a way of believing that we are in control. So when we blame each other and we say, oh yeah, it's these people, they are the reason why this is happening, then that gives us not only a place to kind of contain the emotions, but it also allows us to absolve ourselves as if we're not a part of it. It's like, oh, if the other party is the one doing these actions that are detrimental to society or democracy, then they are the problem. Versus truly, and I cannot stress this enough, the system is the problem. It's not about Democrats. It's not about Republicans. It's just not about that. And I'm going to prove it to you. And I'm going to prove it to you through the concept of super PACs. I'm going to prove it to you with the concept of lobbying. When you have super PACs, which is basically a funnel for corporate dollars to go into politicians in order to fund political campaigns. That's what a super PAC is, in order for billionaires to fund politicians. When you have lobbying, which is where companies lobby politicians in order to enact an agenda that serves their company, this is not democracy. This is not a sustainable political system because it is entwined with corporate interests. It is entwined with business. And as I've explained multiple times, and I'm not trying to be condescending in any way, we are not living in a free market, capitalist utopia. We're living in a monopoly. Not just, a fun game, not just a corruption of capitalism. Capitalism in and of itself is designed for a monopoly. It is designed to be corrupt because you have a model that's guiding principle is profit. Wall Street is about profit. You have investors in your company. All right, so let me explain it to you this way. I start a company called Queef Car, okay? And Queef Car runs on queefs. And I'm super excited because It's sustainable. I made it with all eco materials. My car is made from mushrooms and it runs on queefs. And all you got to do is get in your car and you got a queef, or you like go to the queef container, and then you put the queef container in your car and it propels you forward with the power of 1,000 queefs, okay? I developed this technology, I manufactured it. What I did, I got friends and family to invest in my queef car, okay? So my queef car is doing well. People want my queef car. Then my friends and family who originally gave me the money, all right, to do my investment. So let's say in a perfect world, okay? Let's say in a perfect world, I was still a 51% owner of my company. I got my friends and family to invest, but I'm still a 51% owner. But in order for me to scale my queef car business, I need more financing. And in order for me to get more financing, I have to sell more of my business. So someone is going to come in and they're going to bring money into my business so I can bring it up to scale. I can bring Queef Car to the masses. But in order for me to do that, I'll start losing control of my company. I won't be able to be a 51% owner anymore. So I'll take the deal because I want my car to do well. I want everyone to have a Queef Car. I'll take the deal. Then I'm no longer the main shareholder in my company. I'm still a founder, maybe I'm still a CEO, but I'm not the main shareholder anymore. So then Queef Car starts doing really well. All right, I'm selling Queef Car. It's doing great. Then the people that put in money, the original friends and family or the investors, or maybe you got a venture capitalist, whoever put in money, they're going to say, you know what? I want to cash out. Because all they have is the equity in your company that is a private company. It's not a publicly traded company at this moment. It's a private company. And in order to IPO, which means to take your company public, which means you get a return on your investment, you have to then sell your company to a bigger company because that's what's going to give you your IPO. So all your investors that originally was like, oh no, I love Queef Car, this is a great idea, they're going to want to cash out. And because you're no longer the majority shareholder of your business, you're going to be put in a position where your investors want to cash out for you to go IPO, for you to go public, for you to actually make real money. And once your company goes public, once it gets on the stock market, once another company wants to buy it, which is where money is actually made, okay? Because money isn't made in the profits of the business. Not really. That's why small companies, there's a ceiling. You know, like anyone who's a small business owner, you're kind of still, you're not like technically always like hand to mouth, but the operations of your business isn't producing a lot of liquid. It's not producing a lot of excess cash. Like the excess cash comes in going public. The excess cash comes with another company, a bigger company, valuing your company for more than it's worth. So saying, oh yeah, I understand that you only invested like $500,000 in Queef Car, but now we are going to value the potential of Queef Car $20 million. We'll give you $20 million for it. All your investors are going to want it. They're going to say yes because they're going to want the money. They're going to want the buyout. So the second your company is sold within that context and a bigger company owns your smaller company, they are going to bastardize the standards. No longer is that car made from mushrooms. It's going to be made from plastic. No longer does it run on queefs. They probably would have murdered me because they murder anyone that's going to do some sort of, eco-sustainable energy. But they're not going to, even if I wasn't murdered, they would no longer have the car run on queefs. They would have it run on queefs and fossil fuels and whatever. So they bastardize the product in order to make it cheaper and to make more money. And that's why sustainability is impossible within the stock market, because everything becomes bastardized. It becomes changed. Tom's of Maine, oh, let's make natural toothpaste. Great. Now Crest buys it. Or whatever, Unilever. Who owns Crest? Get it? Like Crest is owned by Unilever, which is probably owned by BlackRock and Vanguard. Like it's all owned by other companies. Like smaller companies are owned by parent companies, which are owned by parent companies, which is owned by the mega conglomerates of BlackRock and Vanguard, which is like the mothership of all of these companies, and they bastardize all the standards. And then there is no genuine choice. If Unilever owns Tide and Gain, what's the difference? Doesn't matter. It's all an illusion of choice, you know? If BlackRock owns both Google and Apple, what does it matter if you're buying an Android or if you're buying an iPhone? It doesn't matter. So, long story, very fucking long, is the entire system of Wall Street is designed for profit. It's not designed for sustainability. It's not designed for what's best for the planet or what's best for people. And even if you do create a triple bottom business model, so a triple bottom business model is profit, planet, people, even if that was your guiding principle in the beginning, like it was for Tom's of Maine, like it was for Queef Car, like it was for Tom and Jerry, or any of these smaller companies that got bought up, so many by Unilever, then your standards become completely corrupted. And that is why we are like always consuming poison. And that is why business is so flawed. And then these massive companies like Unilever, like BlackRock, like Nestle, like all of these companies, they fund politicians. Like if Nestle owns all the water, they're going to be funding politicians that are going to support their agenda of like them owning the land where they can exploit you for the water and they can poison you. So going back to this guy wanting advice and his frustration at his family or his frustration at people for voting Republican, it don't matter. It matters in the social setting around like racism and sexism and transphobia, because I do think that the Republicans and like the very strong conservative Christian agenda is incredibly sexist, homophobic, and racist. But guess what? The Democrats are raping. The Democrats are super racist. I've never met a person of color that's like, I don't find the Democrats to be racist at all. Absolutely not true. The racist policies that are baked into the Democrats are absolutely there. Just look at the prison industrial complex that flourished under Billy Clinton. And he's like, oh, I play the saxophone, so I'm not racist. You are, my dude. So yeah, I understand that like with Trumpy, there is an energy that's being emboldened, an energy of racism, an energy of transphobia, an energy of homophobia, an energy of like misogyny. That is culturally being reinforced. And that is the greater difference between the Republicans and the Democrats, because when you have the Democrats, there is like the optics of quote unquote equality, but the optics of equality is not good enough. It's not good enough for me. It's not good enough for me that like Target will like sometimes have a gay pride flag and sometimes not. Like fuck that. That is not genuine inclusion. That is not like culturally relevant inclusion, like into the depths of the system. And so I think where the Democrats are dangerous is that they make progressive people sleep, because then the progressive people are like, no, I think this is okay. I think Target cares about gay people. No, they fucking don't. No, they don't. Target cares about gay people in the same way that, I don't know the metaphor. I don't know the fucking metaphor, y'all, because it's too dark to even think of some metaphor around this. I mean, Target doesn't care about gay people because Target is a corporation. It's not a person. And even though people are in Target, the company itself does not care about gay people. In fact, the company only cares about profit. And if they were like, oh yeah, well, we can make some money during gay pride, or we can actually do all this like DEI bullshit and like not care at all, because that was never an authentic actual position of this company, like, no. So I understand the frustration that we have at people who are, you know, voting in a way that we think is detrimental, because yes, Trumpo is doing some shit without a doubt, like his big beautiful bill, which is such a funny fucking name. Oh my God. Yeah, a lot of really bad shit is happening under this administration. There is no doubt. But also a genocide happened under the last administration. So that started with a Democratic administration. And I think that's still going. So I don't know. To me, I think I keep going back to the idea that what we really need to be asking ourselves is, why are we so easily manipulated by racism and sexism and homophobia and transphobia? I think that is the real question. Why are we so easily manipulated by these subjects, by these phobias and these isms, okay? Because if we weren't so manipulated, if we weren't so fucking racist and sexist and homophobic and transphobic, I don't think we would be allowing this level of tomfoolery with our political system. But because we are so hateful towards each other, we're so easily manipulated. So I think the real answer is discovering that. And if you're like, well, I'm not racist, or I'm not homophobic, or I'm not transphobic, God is blessed. But we all have those elements of judgment inside of us. And we all have the elements of finger pointing and, it really is, I think, judgment. And so even if you're not an outward racist or homophobic person, you're still probably a judger McNutter, to yourself and to others. And that's the same energy, that's the same vibration. So until you're fully healed from your judgy McJudgerness, that's the vibe. You have to heal. We have to heal. I have to heal. And look at our own. And I think I have my own internalized misogyny. I'm sure I do. I'm sure. It's we have to look at how we have been influenced by the program versus only looking how others are influenced by the program. My throat hurts. I do think there's poison in the air. So I guess that's my advice is I get it. And at the same time, we must look inward. All right, one more question before I go on my other diarrhea vibes. I'm sorry for the random question. I appreciate your content. Thank y'all. How do you make space for the things that need to be said? It angers me how some just turn the other way and stay silent. I was just genuinely curious. So people who are turning the other way and staying silent, I actually think it's a protection mechanism of how much they really care. And caring is super painful. It's not I'm oh, it feels so good to care. Like a warm blanket. I just want to snuggle up in my fucking sense of caring. No, it hurts to care. It's hard on the brain. It's hard on the heart. It's hard on the soul. It's hard on the spirit. It's depressing. Caring is caring those Care Bears. I think the journey is to try to learn how to care like a Care Bear, where you're I care to such an extent that light just beams from my solar plexus, and you're just blah. But most of us don't care like no fucking Care Bear, yo. We care in the most painful, tortured way, where we're ravaged by guilt. So I think the people that don't want to care, it's self-preservation. I don't think that it's easy to be everyone's a fucking sociopath, who's not caring. I get that. And I can sometimes fall into that too, where I'm what the fuck? Are you a different species? But that dehumanizing is incredibly dangerous. So we can't let ourselves do that, even though it sometimes feels that way. Because it's why is it a problem to care about refugees? Why is that weird? Why is it a problem to care about families being torn apart by ICE? That feels normal. That feels on brand for a human heart. But I think the reason why people are refusing to care is because they don't want to care, because it hurts. And they're trying to avoid the pain. And you know what? If you're well, I don't do that. I bet you do that in so many cases. The amount we go around avoiding pain, it is real, my dude. It is fucking real. I'll give you an example of my own pain avoidance. I exercise a lot, especially when my back is fine. I exercise a lot. I move my body a lot. However, like I can recognize how often I'll like go into a space of moving my body and I'm not paying attention and I'm kind of disassociating and I'm just like waiting for it to be over and not doing completely perfect form because it's just like a little more effort to like do the push-up with perfect form than to do the push-up with okay form. Even though I know the difference, I'll like do the okay form, which is still a lot of effort, but I should just do the push-up with perfect form, which is more effort. But either way, I'm exerting effort. You get what I'm saying, yo? It's like we are always avoiding pain constantly. And so we have to, I sometimes I feel like a broken record, but I just keep going back to the same concept of you must look at how you avoid pain because you do, and I do. And when you look at that, then you can say, I see what these people are doing. They're avoiding the fucking heartache. Like, I remember being very confused about homeless. I talk about homeless people all the time because homeless people fucked my ass up as a kid. I could not understand homeless people. I could not understand it. I was like, don't these people have families? I don't understand why no one is letting them live with them. Like they're homeless. It took me so long to understand the context of how like someone, like no, I still actually really struggle with it, but it's happening all the time. There's millions of homeless people in the world, millions. There's so many homeless people. So if you want to understand, like, it's like I couldn't understand how people could like look past the homeless people as if they didn't exist. Or not be sad or not want to give them money, but we desensitize ourselves as self-preservation. And I think desensitizing is like the ultimate psyop in modern culture. Like I was talking to my friend the other day and we're talking about Love Island, and he was saying how he got so desensitized to butts after watching Love Island for like a couple weeks because like the girls are always wearing thongs, and like he got so used to the butts that he stopped noticing the butts and would actually like notice the color of the bathing suit. He's like, oh my God, that color looks so good on her. She should wear lime green more often, because he didn't even see butts anymore because he saw so many butts. And like a man should get still pretty excited by a butt. Like a butt should be like, whoa, cool. But we've seen so many butts that a butt is just like a butt. Also, we shouldn't be sexualizing butts all the time. So I don't know if I like fully even agree with anything I'm saying, but since butts are sexual in this current paradigm, to see so many that they become unsexual means that it's a lot of butts. I mean, maybe that's really good though. I don't know. I'm not clear if seeing butts is good. But I think it's actually great. Maybe he should be desensitized to butts. But like, fuck, I don't know. You think about it and then you come back and you tell me if being desensitized to butts is a good thing. I mean, I think it actually is a good thing, but I think the point I'm trying to make is around desensitization. And we become desensitized to violence. And obviously porno culture, you become desensitized to, intimacy, because you're like, oh, well, we should just be ramming objects into each other's holes, and that's normal. All right. So the last thing I wanted to talk about today is I wanted to talk about emotional labor. Wait, how long have I been talking for? Has it been too long? Should I do another podcast about emotional labor and just make it about that? Yeah, I think I should. I think I've said enough for today. So the next podcast that I do, I want to talk about emotional labor. Wait, no, maybe I should just talk about it now. Ah, man, decisions are hard. I can't tell how long I've been talking. No, I guess I'll do another one. I'm going to do one on emotional labor because I think a lot of people don't understand it. So maybe I'll do that on Friday. Do you want to hear about emotional labor, or do you want to tell me your stories about it? Let's talk about emotional labor on Friday. And on Wednesday, we're going to talk about, oh my goodness, all the stuff that's been happening. All right. So I love you. I hope you're having a really good day. And now I know what I'm going to talk about on Friday. I'm going to talk about emotional labor. Oh yeah, we already talked about the Patreon. I think I did enough for today. Now I remember that I have a podcast, so I'll be back on Wednesday. I'm gonna be consistent again. I'm not gonna go around breaking my back. Although, does anyone else's lungs like particularly hurt? I woke up with such a sore throat. These bug bites are out of control. All right, I love you. Bye. Oh, wait, now bye.